Sorry, I'm having trouble finding my stuff. Here we go. Joyous time zones, my Sakonauts. I'm Sako Tumi, also known as the Witch of Tylwyth Teg, and welcome to the Magic Monday Witching Hour. Today we're going to talk about books of magic. Good morning, Debbie. Good morning, Jenny. So good to see you guys. If we haven't met before, I'd like to welcome you to my channel. It's so very nice to meet you. And if you have been here before, it's so lovely to see you back. I love you guys. I'd like to start this morning with a grounding ritual to start your day. This starts near your domain. So if you've not created a domain, you might want to sign up for my newsletter, which is linked below. Actually, I got to update my links because I've been doing all the things. Sit with your hands in your lap and close your eyes. Take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it for a moment. And as you let it out completely through your mouth, let go of the tension from the night and the grogginess of the morning. Take another deep breath in, and as you breathe in, imagine you are breathing in pure love. And as you breathe out, imagine you are breathing out forgiveness. Take a third deep breath in, and as you do so, imagine a light coming in at the top of your head. It enters at the top of your head and spreads down over your face, neck, and shoulders. This cleansing light now expands along your back, down your legs, and out through your feet. It is as if cleansing light is a constant flow of soothing energy entering from your head and passing out through the arches of your feet. You are just outside the door of your domain. The air is crisp and cool. The evergreens sway slightly in the breeze, and the ground has a large patch of moss at your feet. Step barefoot onto the moss. Feel how soft it is. Feel the solid ground underneath. That light coming into your head can now be translated into energy that you can send out your feet. Convert the light into roots and send the roots out the bottoms of your feet and deep into the earth, as deep as you can. The soil is fresh, easy to toil, easy to carve a path down. Feel how anchored you are, how close to the earth. Reach down as far as you can. The earth hugs your roots comfortably, no matter how sharp or curly, no matter how many times they split off. Slowly pull the roots back up the way they came. The roots slither through the dark, the soil filling in its wake. Pull the roots back into your feet. Convert it back to the light, and let the light filter through you and out the top of your head. Take one more deep breath in and begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. When you are ready, open your eyes. Welcome back. If you're just joining our stream, that was our grounding ritual to start the day. Okay. Tarot pull. I don't have a tarot deck in front of me. Hi, Debbie and RC. Yay! I do have these divination dice. And I can probably roll some divination dice and see what's up, or I can run and get a tarot deck, or I can pull it digitally. Random tarot card generator. Boop. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Oops. Present. Share screen. Random tarot card. Okay, here we go. Oh. Boop. Here we go. Change. Metamorphosis. So the last couple months, this quarter, has been a doozy astrologically, right? But we are strong. And if you were a good person, your karma is good and all of that, then you were reaping your rewards. However, if you have flaws to your character, and everybody does, right? Then you got that karma. So either way, drastic change is coming. So a lot of times, the death card is presented with like a skull with plants coming out of it, or they've got like a butterfly coming out of its chrysalis, or anything like that. And keep an eye on your projects and keep an eye on your money. And things are coming. The fruits of our labors, whether it be good or bad, are coming to a head. For sure. Okay, horoscope. Our emotions currently make for better guides than our logic. The moon in Libra squares the sun in Cancer, bringing relationships to the fore, but Mars will square Uranus, shaking things up and leaving us uncertain of what will happen next. Intelligent Mercury in Gemini will quincux Pluto. That is a word I've never read before. Adding a dose of intensity to our wildest ideas. But once the messenger planet steps into Cancer at 8:24 p.m. Eastern, we should be able to recalibrate and come back to our own emotional centers. Does that resonate with anybody? Mine is finally getting the divorce finalized and my book published and starting book 3. That is a lot of change all at once. Absolutely. Hopefully sometime this week or next week. Next week is great for me, Jenny, for book formatting things and stuff like that. So let me know. Let's look at Tuesday as as the day to contact each other and work out the details. Okay, today we are going to talk about books of magic. The fourth a... Oh, I haven't drawn that week yet. No, next Tuesday. Maybe next Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday. Because I'm sure you will be busy on July 4th, and I will probably do... Yeah. I will probably do something in the evening. There's a chance my husband might cook some food on the grill. Though he just expressed how much he kind of didn't want to cook. I will talk to him about it and see what's up, because I am no good with the grill. I will probably burn everything. Yeah. I believe Manassas is doing the fireworks thing again, and so I'll drag Kibby with me, and we'll have a good time. Yeah, so about those books. Okay, so there are 3 kinds of books that you would like use those journals for, like, and if you're the witchy sort, you've been collecting journals like nobody's business, and don't be afraid to start writing in those journals. I know that as long as you devote the whole book to one purpose, and I plan my books with post-its. So I'm like, this page is dedicated to this topic, and this page is dedicated to this topic. This will be I use ligatures as sections. A ligature is like you'll notice in bookbinding, there are groups of pages. Each of those groups of pages, where it's folded in half, and then folded in half, and then folded in half. Each of those groups is called a ligature. So I use those ligatures as sections. I'll do like a title page. Pinterest is really great for ideas for like typography and fancy writing and stuff like that. If you want to use fancy writing at all. I like to use fancy writing because I'm a graphical kind of person. But Pinterest is also really good for inspiration for pages. Jenny has to start hers all over, but that's okay. My path is different now, so starting over is not so bad. Yeah. And I'd be more than happy to help with that. In fact, going through some of my past lives, you can probably dedicate pages to each of my presentations regarding whatever the topic is. And you can assess my videos, and you can mark pages with the post-it. Like this will be servitors, and this will be holidays, and this will be whatever other topic. I would have like physical things to show you. However, all my books are upstairs. But if you want suggestions as to what to put in your book, I can also send specific videos that I think would be helpful. So give me a holler if you are looking for inspiration for said books. Okay, so the 3 books, right? Book number 1 is the Grimoire, which is kind of like a dictionary or encyclopedia of sorts. It is a collection of information about whatever topics that you feel are important. Next is your Book of Shadows, which a lot of times there's a section for your grimoire in your Book of Shadows. Some people kind of confuse the grimoire and the Book of Shadows a little bit. I think of a Book of Shadows as kind of like a record of your journey. So, like, it's kind of a diary format, and oftentimes you include your rituals and the information that you gather and how it's applicable to your life at the time. Any visualizations that you do, any astral projection trips that you do, you can put it in your Book of Shadows. And then third is your Book of Mirrors. Your Book of Mirrors, which is a chaos thing, which is probably why you've never heard it, if you've never heard it before. The Book of Mirrors is kind of like a scientific record of your magical practice. So I put in all my research, how it is applicable to my life at the time, how I'm preparing, what is the ritual that I am doing, and what I did, and then the effect that it had. My chaos group also does like assignments. And I'm kind of thinking about doing that again, is assignments to go into our Book of Mirrors. Especially since, the pandemic is kind of behind us. There's still some pandemic things happening, but it's not as prevalent, and we can still gather in person. So I will probably, hold on, I need to put my Discord on Do Not Disturb. Boop. There we go. There was an active server that was distracting me. So the Book of Mirrors is kind of our record of the studying that we're doing. And we will often come up with one topic, like servitors, and we will plan the servitor, draw the servitor. I steal ideas from Pinterest. Then assign intention. Actually bring the spirit to life, or bring the servitor to life. I think of my stuff as spirits, but maybe maybe your servitors are not spirits. And then I would put what it's supposed to do, what it does, and the effect that it had on my life. I like going to bookstores or secondhand stores or anything like that and going to the journal section. It doesn't have to be a super fancy book. It can be a fucking notebook from Staples. It can be a composition book. I was actually working on modifying some composition books to be magical books. So like, you know, like tri-moon goddess things on each of the covers and painting and texturing and all of that jazz. And it's aligned so you can, you know, write your things. I like oftentimes if I run out of room on the page, I will take my Post-its, make notes, slap it on the thing. A lot of times I will slap the drawing that I did for the sigil. Yes. Books of Shadow, especially. Using a binder with like the sleeves in it will allow you to reorganize your pages. You can take the pages out and edit them and put them back in. You can add pages without printing off pictures and other things to add. Yeah, absolutely. The upside is that this is your private book, right? I usually put a sigil in the beginning of my books and sometimes at the end. It's a protective sigil. So anybody who reads it without my permission will, you know, kind of experience some bad things. Or the lack of good things. So binders are very popular, especially in Wiccan culture for Books of Shadow. Doing a binder with removable sleeves and reshuffleable pages and stuff like that is really popular. I don't like it because it's big and clunky and some people like the big and clunky. Etsy has filled pages, empty pages with like textures and graphics and stuff on the pages. All kinds of like cool entries that you can print off and stick in your binder. Yeah, Etsy is a treasure trove of witchy stuff, like resources. It might be a little bit of money in order to get like a pack of 15 or something like that. But they send you the print files, so like PDFs, so you can just print them out. It'll be high res, and you can stick it in your Book of Shadows. There's nothing saying that you can't make a binder for your Book of Mirrors or your Grimoire, for that matter. Binders are a convenient way for the modern witch to do things. I also have a collection of, I think I call it my grimoire on Pinterest. So having a digital version of your Book of Shadows or your grimoire or whatever is also super helpful. I've also recently, like in the past year or two, I've started, oh, son of a bitch. I've started making my sigils digitally, like on my tablet, and then I will physically erase the sigil to activate it. Or you can just blow the layer away. This has proven very useful for me, especially if I'm doing like rituals. So the difference between a ritual and casting a spell is a ritual is a bunch of spells kind of like strung together. Thinner binders for each subject, so spells, herbs, less bulky, and some same concept of tabs. Tabs are great. I have a book of mirrors that has like tabs in the notebook and like a tri-moon thing on the cover. It is, and then I have like like an index in the back of the book. I used to use flash paper, but it doesn't take to ink very well. So if I plan it in the beginning of the week, by the time the end of the week shows up, I can't read the thing anymore. So in a way, it kind of activates itself by disappearing, by the ink evaporating or whatever happens. Yeah. Flash paper is also really cheap on Amazon, by the by. I like red, and I'll use like gold ink, but the gold ink will often evaporate or soak into the paper or whatever. But yes, if you light it and throw it into your cauldron, I have a little cauldron. You can have a big one if you really want, but little ones are, you can purchase them from like Panther Pavilions, which I think is no longer a thing. Lodge makes little cauldrons. And Jenny uses colored pencils, adding the touch of color to the sigil. That is cool. That is a very cool method. Because the more you put into the sigil, the more intention you are, instilling in it, which is great because you're charging it. I recommend charging it while you're coloring, while you're like adding stuff. And then when you execute it, when you burn the paper or when you tear it up or when, whatever you're doing, the destruction of said sigil, it is more powerful. I think it's more effective. I find it very useful. So I will often do sketches of my sigils and kind of like a worksheet sort of format. I also have a presentation on sigil making on my channel. If you want to get into, maybe in post, I will put a link in the things. Maybe I will do that. Welcome back. So, Grimoire is kind of like an encyclopedia. So it is a gathering of information and miscellaneous notes regarding each subject. Excuse me. Book of Shadows is kind of like a diary as it pertains to your witchy journey or spiritual journey, I'll put. And then your Book of Mirrors is your scientific record of how and when and why and like everything that revolves around casting a spell. I kind of want to share some inspiration. Let's go to Pinterest. Oh, Tommy Inspo. I think it's at the bottom. Grimoire. All right, so I'm going to show you my Pinterest board. All right. So I have various sections for certain subjects. If I have put it in a folder, that means I have, used it, written it down. Also, my scribed folder is stuff that I have already put in my grimoire. If you want, I can also, so these sigils are particularly, I find that they are particularly powerful in that there are so many other people using them and putting their intentions into it and putting their power into it. So I find that these like pre-made sigils are they can be quite effective. I make my own these days, but this is like hanging out under my bed. I think I have an anti-nightmare one too. Fire, water, air, earth. And you'll find Moody Moons or Traveling Witch or anything like that. Those kinds of blogs will often do pins of their blogs as to how to use certain ingredients or how to like these are like pages that you can buy on Etsy for each of the holidays. There are some pages that are prettier than others. You can tell that whoever put this page together is not a graphic designer and is really more on the information. Oh, I'm sorry. Oop. Shadow work. Tarot pugs is another good one. Tarot pugs. Where's my traveling witch stuff? Yeah, smudging water, or excuse me, Florida water, as opposed to smudging with sage. how to work with your ancestors, 10 creative ways to use your cauldron. This is one of my favorite tarot spreads. It's a triune path, and as you are casting it, your each tine that is coming off of the design is either the mother, the maiden, or the crone, and they will make themselves apparent. Like one will be specifically the crone, one will be specifically the maiden, and it will vary depending on the spread. Bothersome spirits. I have all kinds of inspiration for my own armor. So I am updating my armor for when I'm doing astral projection. Traveling Witch has a bunch of really cool applications. I started searching out pictures and information on things that I was seeing on my trips. I should add things for my shape-shifting. You kind of get the idea. Pinterest is a treasure trove of both bullshit and non-bullshit, like super useful stuff. It is up to you to decide what is bullshit and what is not. It's going to be different for everybody. And that's the thing. This is going to work for literature in print as well. It's that some books are going to spout a bunch of bullshit. And like Silver Raven Wolf is not my bag. But Silver Raven Wolf works for a lot of other people. So I don't shit on people who use Silver Raven's Silver Wolf, Raven Silver Wolf, right? Right? Is that her name? With the, I'm sorry, I hear people running around upstairs, which is my husband. He's probably getting more water. So I kind of use my grimoire and my Book of Shadows as a way to process and suss out what is useful and what doesn't work for me. And it's going to be different for everybody. So one of the reasons why I left Wicca is because they believe that if you change your ingredients or you change something that you are doing in the moment, or and it doesn't work out, that something terrible is going to happen. And you're a bad witch, and you you have bad karma coming, like the threefold law and all of that wacky shit. I can't subscribe to that anymore, so I like the chaos view on content. And that is learn from as many schools as you possibly can and figure out what works for you and what doesn't. I like going to as many schools as possible, both in my dance and my witchcraft and all of that stuff. I like to learn from all the things, even my Buddhist practice, now that I think about it. Are there any questions regarding the 3 books or the... Yeah. Started out with Wicca as well, but have moved off that path years ago. I felt like it was similar to an organized... It is an organized religion. Just trying to be different, but not quite getting there. Like Golden Dawn Wicca, or Crowley Wicca, or... Though Crowley also did a lot of chaos things. So it's... If you are looking for prominent wizards in... or prominent chaos in culture, Grant Morrison and Alan Moore are chaos. And they are becoming... As they get older, they're dodging the subject less and less, and they are basically expressing like the Big Blue Book, which is the Ray Buckland's Guide to Witchcraft, the Big Blue Book, and it is basically the crunchiest view of witchcraft as far as Wiccans look at it. So it teaches you how to make all of the tools that you might use for rituals and stuff. It might it also teaches you all the rituals and how a ritual would be put together. And I find both for a group and for the solitary witch, I find it is a perfect start to your journey, because it doesn't get much crunchier outside of in normal witchcraft. It doesn't get much crunchier, and you can kind of like start to parse down what's necessary to do and what isn't necessarily useful. I don't use incantations. I feel kind of silly using them sometimes. I will use invocations for drawing gods to work with, or mostly for gods. The cool thing about the Big Blue Book is that it's kind of a workbook. So after each chapter, there are a bunch of questions that ask you about your own paradigm. So, and maybe it usually has questions that will help you form your paradigm. And maybe your paradigm doesn't line up with Wicca. So another great book is by Irene Glass. It is called Magpie something. Irene Glass. Magpie. Black Feather Mystery School, the Magpie Training Manual. Okay, so she's actually working on the second book, which is bonkers. It's going to be amazing. Let me show you the cover at least. I find this super useful. Irene is an eclectic witch. So the stuff that is in this book, present, share screen, Black Feather Mystery School. Oh, here's a bunch of stuff. We can kind of talk about the kinds of topics that are in the Black Feather Mystery School Book 1. Irene Glass is a good friend and just so happens to be the high priestess at Cups sort of establishment in Frederick, Maryland. And she has magified her house. And I could go on and on about how awesome Irene is, but I will restrain myself. But you can buy them on her site. Kane Dreamwalker is her significant other. Foundations, how to some of your foundations, yeah, like your daily practice, where you're going to be working, and then putting together your temple. And there are homework sections as well. Energy work, elemental magic, witch's cupboard, which is like herbs and divination and stuff like that. Magical self-defense, like shielding and warding. Primal spirit, like journey work and meditation. Languages of spirit, which is the exercises that she has in this book are super useful, by the way. She also has an audio version of the exercises, especially if it's like a meditation that you're supposed to visualize while you go. If you don't dissociate as easily as I do, or slip into gnosis as easily as I do, then you can go on her website and download the MP3 or play the MP3 on her website for that exercise, which is super helpful. The empowered witch self. So like kind of figuring out your shadow and coming to terms with it. Elemental life sculpting, which is interesting. I should read that section. States of consciousness, the up, down, and in between. Beginning spirit healing. Shortcut.exe is definitely a chaos thing. Labyrinth, which is super cool. There's a labyrinth at the Cups location in Frederick. which can be just like a mode paths that all go to a central location. Effective spell casting, temple arts, devotional witchcraft, locally sourced magic, yeah. Spirit stuff, guising, which is like like it is shapeshifting, but it's shapeshifting into another person visage while you're doing visualization and stuff. Because sometimes maybe you want to talk to a spirit as an old woman, so that people take you seriously. Or maybe you are playing with fairies and you want to appear to them as a child. There are all kinds of situations where guising would be super useful. Shape-shifting, which I'm super into recently, is turning into animals, which can be super useful when traveling. I should check out the homework and see what's up. Her acknowledgements, the foreword, which I think is actually by the guy who wrote Psychic Witch. Rebecca just recently passed away, so we had a big to-do celebration of life and stuff like that. God, what's his name? I have to look it up. Matt Oren. By the by, Matt Oren, yes. Get this. I recommend both book 1 and the coming book 2, your intermediate level 2 stuff. That was another thing. There like titles and positions and a hierarchy in Wicca, and there is no such thing in my practice. I think everybody is capable, both in Buddhism and in witchcraft. I think everybody is capable of being a master. First degree, different degrees of magic, which is interesting because I don't think of shapeshifting as basic. That is intermediate shit at best. Also, if you remember, Matt Oren is the one who had who zotted my channel for reading his book. Introduction. This happens a lot when gods give you a homework assignment. So while you're going to want to flip through it, I actually recommend, even if you are a well-trained or a fully trained witch and have been doing it for 30 years and all of that stuff, like you have the first edition of the Big Blue Book, I'm looking at you, Jenny. You can, I strongly recommend reading through this book, even with the introduction, with the 2 paths to the temple, with the foundations. The refresher is nice, and she might even impress you with some new information regarding each subject. Lost with the Toe. There is a second edition out. There's like a 20-year anniversary edition, which is what I got, because I had to replace mine because my high priestess stole my book. So you get the idea. And it gives you homework. And you can use the homework in your Book of Shadows. You can use the homework in your Book of Mirrors. And it doesn't have to be a nice book. If you are afraid to use pretty books, then you can just take a notebook pad, like a composition book or whatever, and just like scrawl whatever notes. Oh, did you write in yours? I don't write in mine. I use them as prompts and write them in separate books, but I know the Big Blue Book leaves space for you to write your answers. Love to use all kinds of books. Variety is fun. Maybe next week I will do a presentation on my recommendations for kind of like re-establishing your practice. Oh man, that hurts. Yeah, that hurts. My hour is almost up. So, in summary, Grimoire is a dictionary or an encyclopedia. Book of Shadows is like a diary of your journeys and of your journey as a witch. And then the Book of Mirrors is your scientific record of all the things. And not everybody has a Book of Mirrors. I'll note that. If you are a note junkie like I am, then I would do a Book of Mirrors. If you like this video, now you have me going down the witchy Amazon Journal books rabbit hole. I will, I find that if I find a book and I'm like, this will be a new Book of Shadows, and it'll be dedicated to a Book of Shadows, and I will invariably fill it. Which, witchcraft is the only subject in which I do that. I might show that off next. Oof, my light balancing is wonky. don't be afraid to use pretty journals that you might have. If you are afraid to write in them right out of the gate, then I love Post-its. Post-its are a really great way to kind of like mark space on those pages for the topic in question. And it doesn't matter which book it is. I find that planning the book with Post-its is super helpful. And I can work on the book out of order if I so desire. If you have books you can recommend, please to be sharing them. That would be amazing. So if you liked this video at any point, I encourage you to hit the like button. And if you want to see more videos like this one, you can see me on Monday mornings. The topic will be different each show. And if you have suggestions for topics, you can either comment below or send me an email or contact me on Discord or whatever. And I will catch you guys on the flip side.